are somewhat committed to each other, that's true, right? So we have to acknowledge that. But they're not fully committed to each other, right? Because you can only be fully committed within a Christian marriage, because you know that's what you're going to do, right? Now here I chose not to get married, right? In this specific example, why? You don't want to spend the money? Fine, okay, whatever, right? But your commitment is not full, definitely not. But more importantly though, is that they have not attained unity. Unity doesn't happen, just okay guys, you're good, no, go ahead, right? So where's the unity? That's why marriage is a sacrament, right? It's a blessing that we give on the couple for them to become one. So in other words, these are two people that are somewhat committed to each other, right? And they're living together. But it's definitely not a Trinitarian type of love where there's commitment regardless, unconditionally, and we have been one since our wedding day. So, and then I continue in that unity by sacrificing one to the other, right? Very good question, yes?
Would a marriage outside of Coptic Orthodox Church, like it's still Christian, but outside of Coptic Orthodox Church, would you still like consider it like they're fully committed to each other as well, or does that have to be within the Coptic Orthodox Church?
Yani, I'm not in a position to answer because I'm not God, right? So this is a question to be directed to God. But one thing I know that is important, right? There are people, like for example, Protestant Christians, they don't believe it's a sacrament. So that is already a big flag, right? So you don't believe it's a sacrament, you don't believe it's only, there's a huge issue there, right? The other ones, right? Of course, our faith, everything that we do is based on our faith, right? So why do we marry people in the church? We tell them, no, you have to be in the Orthodox Church. So you think that, you know, like sometimes we're like, no, these people shouldn't take communion here and so on and so forth, right? Why do we do that? It's because when I partake of the communion, right, I say what? I say, I believe. No, before taking communion, what do we say? Abuna goes on for a good 5 minutes, or sorry, 2 minutes. I believe. We just pray 2 hours, right? And Abuna is just repeating, I believe. Abuna khalasna, right? Like we pray 2 hours. No, I believe. Amen. Khalasna. Like what's the deal, right? And then when he's done, finally, the deacon. I believe. What's the deal? Right? So we need to understand, when I partake of the Eucharist, I partake of it based on my faith, what I believe in, right? That's why in the early church, people that were catechumens, they weren't Christian, they weren't baptized yet, they came after the sermon and they would leave. And only the ones that were baptized would remain in the congregation to attend the creed, right? Because we say we believe, and then we explain the Trinitarian God, right? And then we partake of the liturgy as an assembly together, right? So what we do has to do with our faith. People today are like, no, do whatever you want. All the churches are the same, as if there's different, shopping centers you go to, right? That's not how it is, right? So if my belief, obviously, is that the Orthodox faith is the right faith. If not, I wouldn't be standing in front of you here, right? So personally, when this is my belief, I go with my belief, and that's it, right? You have a question? Yes.
I had a question regarding love between friendships and friends. Sorry.
Yes.
Do we find that love between a friend, like someone who is Christian and Orthodox like us, and someone who's not, like a coworker or a friend from school, is that something that's fruitful and seen as blessed in God's eyes? Like
Yeah.
between each other?
Why not? Well, it's not a marriage, right? So marriage is a sacrament because I truly learned to love the Trinitarian way, right? Friendship between two people is not sacramental, right? But it is Trinitarian in a sense because we're all humans together and we love each other and so on. But the question here becomes, especially when you guys are old, but especially let's say for high school youth, if they have a bad friend that influences them negatively, then it's a different story completely. It's not because they shouldn't love. Yes, they should love even these people, everybody, of course. And these friendships are blessed. And I could reach, actually, the best way to preach and to get someone within Christianity is through true friendship. Because you go through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of negotiations, getting angry at each other and so on and so forth. But your friendship keeps you united in a sense, right? Keep you next to each other. And then the truth is discovered through that. When I meet a random guy in the street, now Christianity is true, he tells me no, Islam is true. He tells me you don't know what you're talking about, like okay, God forgive you, whatever, like okay. Then he leaves and that's it. Like nothing was done here, right? So yes, it's definitely blessed. I don't see any problem with that statement. So please correct me if I'm wrong here. Any other questions? Yes.
You said in a relationship, love is not complete unity, but
It's not what, sorry?
it's not complete unity, right?
You mean Christian relationship or
No, I
non-Christian?
mean, like, I'm going back to her question, like outside of marriage, but earlier you said that just loving in general is unity, so
Love leads to unity, yes. Right? So,
why is it out of a relationship not unity?
sorry, repeat again, I don't understand. And I'm dumb, it's not you, it's me. Go on.
Meaning like outside of marriage, why is not unity? That's
Oh, did I say outside?
you said relationships and
Sorry, I meant outside of marriage.
Okay, so repeat your question though. Sorry.
So she asked, outside of marriage, love, like if somebody says a ring is not gonna like change everything or whatever. But you said that outside of marriage it's not complete unity. But earlier in the talk you said that love by itself is complete unity. So why is it outside of marriage not?
No, I didn't say that love, maybe I did, I don't know, but I don't mean that love is complete unity. Love leads to unity, right? So the easy example is that the restaurant example, right? So we all have different needs or wants, right? And then out of love, so I'm selfless, sacrificial, say, okay, whatever, I'll do whatever you want. So it leads to unity of mind in this case, right? So there's different levels of unity, in other words. There's unity of mind, right? What we're going to do today. And then there's the mystical unity in the Trinity. Okay, it's a completely different type of unity, level of unity, that's only attainable by Christians. Okay? So there's unity and there's unity. And there's different levels in between, right? It's a big word. Did I answer you? Okay. Yes.
Within marriage, would you define love to be the same as commitment, or are they two separate things and one trumps the other?
No, I think commitment is within love. So a characteristic, the main one of love is that commitment, right? And it has to be there, and it has to be about loving, right? Loving despite of, right? So that's the commitment. And then within that commitment, there's many other things, like on the 5 love languages that you know of, and so on and so forth, right? But that's the foundation to the rest, right? Did I answer you?
Yeah.
Does anyone else? I'll take Abuna first. Abuna will answer his own question.
You just addressed the whole idea of I don't need a wedding ring to be married. Like it's not about the wedding ring.
No, of course, yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, please. I know what he's talking about, but he's so good at working with him.
This whole concept of I don't need a wedding ring to show that I love somebody. Well, that's. Can I speak bluntly? Forgive me, but that demonstrates a level of ignorance. Because it's not about the wedding ring. Nobody cares about the wedding ring. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the 19th century, there was no wedding rings. This is not part of our tradition whatsoever. It was only introduced into Western tradition as of like the 19th century. As a matter of fact, it's only since the 20th century that men started to wear them. Before, it was only a gift from the man to the woman. So it has nothing to do with the ring. So a person who says, I don't need a contract or a wedding ring to show that I love somebody, well, congratulations, but that's an empty statement. Because if you think you come to church simply so that Abuna could do this on your wedding rings, you've missed the boat. Like, we're not on the same page. Like, there's a reason why the bishop and the priest will stand there and he will ask for God to unite the both of you. The same way that the Father is one with the Son, and the same way that the Son is one with the Spirit, you are called to be one with your spouse. This is where mystery is. It has nothing to do with jewelry.
I think the guy guys really like that answer.
And you have to remember something. Abuna before he just blessed the two rings, he just pulled the two rings together and tied with the red string. What does it mean? You are united through the blood of Christ. And this is the only thing unite groom and bridegroom. Okay?
Sorry, Nancy, there was red, which was before you. Sorry. And now I'll go to this side too. I'll come half to half. I'll just take them first.
Mine isn't really a question so much as a statement. When people get engaged or couples start taking the steps, I think it's really important to, sort of what Anthony's comment is to make these things known to the couple. We have the whole pre-marriage course, and it talks about man and wife and how to get through problems and deal with the in-laws. And I think we sort of miss the beauty of the sacrament. And I think that would be really important and key going forward for couples who are thinking of getting engaged and actually in the engagement process getting married, to make it very clear what it is they're signing up for.
Very well said.
And there is another. Do you see Indian girl married? What does he do? How to know she is married or not? And her forehead, there is something here to show that she is married. They don't have rings. Once you see just something printed here in her forehead, that she is married. So rings also help you to know if she is married or this couple is married or not.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, it would be nice for the two people to love the same way that Wissa said, but you often have a case where maybe one loves this way and the other one doesn't. So how do you deal with someone who's more on the selfish side of love? And because you can't just keep on giving, or should you keep on giving? And is that wise?
Yeah, so
Will you repeat the question, please?
the question is, how do you deal with a relationship, a married relationship with one person or partner that loves more than the other? So one is sacrificial, the other one is not, right? These questions are real difficult to answer because they're really on base to base, or case to case basis, right? But generally speaking, I think the person that is sacrificing her or his life, right? He has a big role to take. You know? And to have a big role to take, he needs to have a deeper unity with Christ, him or herself. There's many other things that can be said, right? But I really don't like to talk about this generally because people just take it in their own way, right? It's really, really case by case. But generally speaking, the first thing that someone has to do, and the ultimate thing someone ought to do, is to really pick up his cross as much as possible and to increase his life of prayer because he needs it. It doesn't mean, though, I'm not saying that the person should be accepting every single thing the other person does, especially in case of abuse and so on and so forth. These are different stories, right? And they have their own details, right? I'll just go here or come because.
It's kind of a very similar question.
Okay, so I answered you?
Yeah.
Or I didn't answer you? Yes.
It might be part of the subject, but why is it a big deal for Egyptian Christian Orthodox to get married in a Lebanese Orthodox church or Greek Orthodox church? Because I lived it, not me, but like my family lived it, and it was a really big deal. But we're not all Orthodox.
Yeah. So between like a Lebanese Orthodox church or Catholic
Lebanese
church?
or Greek.
Well,
Why,
the faith.
like,
Yeah.
it's not happening in the Egyptian church.
So, again, everything is based on faith, right? And unfortunately, the faith is not exactly the same, right? With the Eastern Orthodox Church, is very, very similar, right? There's still hopefully a unity to come at some point. The Catholic Church has differences in the faith, including in the creed.
No, I'm not talking about Catholic.
Okay. Orthodox, sometimes I know in certain dioceses, okay, if the two bishops of the diocese between the two different churches agree, then they agree to marry them. But it's something that goes to the bishop, because the faiths are very similar, right? And they're pretty much almost one, but there's different, again, there's so much discussion to happen, but we're not one yet, right? So generally speaking, we won't see that happening. But since we're very close, sometimes هو في قرار المجمع الحاجات دي؟
Yeah, between the bishop of Roman Orthodox in Alexandria and the Coptic Church only.
Okay.
And if it happened in America,
Yes.
we can, if the two bishops agree, two bishops are Orthodox, if we are accepting each other.
Did you understand sentence? So if both bishops agree in the same location, right? Because they've discussed it, they understand each other, and they give permission to each other, then it's possible. That's what the Holy Synod said. And there is also an exception with the Catholic Church, Synod?
No, Catholic.
Not Catholic, but in Egypt, right? But again, and that's what, it's very important for us to pray for unity, right? That's what we want to all attain. Yes.
I just want to add something to it. I know my standpoint is a bit controversial and it really ticks off a lot of people. I don't really care about the marriage portion of that because I know that answered the marriage part of the aspect, but in terms of the faith, in my opinion, when you say that they're really similar, that's just a Texas sharpshooter fallacy. So you focus on the similarities, but you ignore the differences. That's even with Chalcedon, the current reunity formula. In my opinion, once again, it's Texas sharpshooter fallacy. They're actually different. They're not complementary.
Well,
and you can disagree if you want to, but
yeah.
I just want to put that there.
I do disagree because there are differences, I agree, but it's about what does this word mean, right? So textually, yeah, there seems to be apparent differences, right? And I think Chalcedon is one of those examples, right? So people are saying different things, or they seem to be saying different things, using different languages, but in reality they mean the same thing, right? Some things change, I agree, and I don't, of course I believe in one nature of Christ, no doubt about that, right? But if you think about it, right, it's not that far off. So what I'm saying is, continuing dialogue gets to unity, and that's the whole point.
Can I add something? Or?
Yeah.
I like the concept of dialogue, definitely. I completely agree with that. I've heard those arguments before.
It's not an argument, it's a...
It's a semantic argument, right? It's the same argument that's used, I've seen the PDFs from the meetings that they've had together. So that's what I was talking about, where it's a Texas sharpshooter. I do have if you look in the Tome of Leo itself, there are statements in there that would make it so that it can't account for salvation, for example. I can give you, I did an analysis for church, our church, so I can give you that particular summary PDF if you want.
No. Yeah, actually, I would love to read it. You said it, but that's something, right? So reading a letter is something, and that's the thing. So our churches are incarnational. They're supposed to be, right? So when I come and we chat together, and then so now we kind of disagree in a sense. I don't think we are really. I think we're saying the same thing in different ways, right? So the more we continue in this dialogue, we realize that. And then if I can change something in my opinion and so on and so forth, then we get it. That's my entire point, right?
Just want to announce that let's maintain the questions to the topics of the lecture.
Okay.
So don't sidetrack.
last one ولا خلاص كده؟
No, yeah, we have questions, but let's maintain it to the topic of the lecture.
Okay, so
that we don't sidetrack.
okay. Forgot
Okay, so I have a question about age and love. So a lot of people will say you're too young to know what love is, or basically young people get married and be a lot of controversy around it. So how would you just talk about the age of knowing how to love?
So the question is, how do you know if you're ready to love, in other words, right? It's so personal. It's so personal.
Go back to Kelsey.
Listen, okay, so let me give you an example that's very clear. So can two people in high school be ready for love?
Yeah.
It's very You're so cute. Yeah, that exists, you know, but I also have another story for you. It is, no need for negative stories, but it doesn't always work that way, right? So the idea is, am I ready? Okay, so how can I start sacrificing myself if I'm not built myself, right? And the reason why we can see more divorces today actually is because احنا متدلعين, right? Everybody's focusing on himself. You know, mommy this, daddy this, I want a car, I want a bomboni, I want this. It's non-stop, right? And it's all about me. Okay, so I cannot transition from that state to sacrificial love overnight. It actually takes months and years of preparation, right? So usually it requires a mature person. Also, when someone chooses or picks his partner, right? You have to pick wisely, right? So let's say it's someone that is 15 years old, or let's not 15, someone that is 20 years old, right? That same person, does she think the same way when she was 18? No, very different, right? Will she think the same when she's 22, 23? Yeah, a bit closer, but still different, right? So I think 90%, if I remember correctly, the number, right? 90% of your personality, okay, is fulfilled or completed by the age of 24, 25, something like that. Okay, I don't remember exactly, right? So when I know myself, now I can choose someone else, right? If I don't know who I am, how in the world could I choose who am I going to live the rest of my life with? It's a big risk, right? Does that mean it could never happen? No, I mean, you can have two people that are 18 years old that they meet, and, you know, but it's very, very rare, okay? Especially 15, 14, it's 99.9% of the time it doesn't happen, right? Did I answer? Yes, sir.
Let's say a Coptic person marries someone outside of the church, that they become Coptic for the ceremony. But they want to, so they have a Coptic ceremony, but they also want to have, like, let's say a Catholic ceremony, like a wedding ceremony. Are both ceremonies still valid? Or is only the Coptic ceremony?
That makes absolutely no sense to me. Yeah, people might do that.
Just to please like both.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the objective is I want to please the family, right?
Yeah.
Right? But is that why getting married? Please the family? Like, yeah, what? Again, marriage, sacrificial love, Trinitarian. I want to be united in the Holy Trinity. That's my objective. Salvation, sanctity, sainthood, right? That's my objective, right? To which one is true? Which one will lead me towards that objective? Has nothing to do with pleasing families. Like, I'm sorry if I was a bit rough in answering that question, but to me it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, like, something, there's a wire loose in the brain when you ask that question. Like, it doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't fit. So in other words, I really don't encourage that kind of behavior. My behavior, the behavior I would encourage is find for you what is the truth, explain the truth to the family, and live the truth and enjoy it, right? I understand that sometimes families put a lot of pressure, and then it becomes not the couple's fault, but the family's fault. Like, I understand that. But at some point, me personally, I'll talk for me personally, I would stick to what I know is true. Okay? Although it's not always easy. I didn't answer. I can tell.
No.
He's good? I didn't answer him, but he's good. Yes?
So let's say people get married in City Hall or have someone else marry them, like a friend or something. Would that still be considered a complete marriage, like in God's eyes, or would it have to be by an abuna in a church?
Well, are they united? Are they one? Mystery. Like in the mystery of the sacrament?
Okay. So like if they don't want a big thing or whatever, with City Hall, I mean, okay, it's kind of like you're legally married.
Civil wise, yeah.
Yeah.
But not Trinitarian wise,
Oh, okay.
right? So you're not one. So you can do, and I really, really respect that. People that want to do something small, right? But do it in the church. Like, something small doesn't equal civil marriage, right? You can have something very small, just family. Actually, you know a couple, there were 20, 30 people. And they went to a restaurant. And that's awesome, it's great. You understand what's important, right? That's great. Yes, then, you just say hi. Hi. وحشتني already. اسمك ايه؟ ماريو؟ ازيك يا ماريو؟ ها؟ ماركو ازيك يا ماركو؟ Same thing. Yes.
If you don't mind, it's a blood mental like so would we consider that a sin that someone
Sorry, louder please.
is it considered a sin that that person did to ceremony? Or is it an incomplete?
It's definitely, I would say it's not logical to me. Saying it is a sin, no, I wouldn't say that. I don't know if it would be or not. There's like a lot of details and that would be up to God, but it's just not logical to me. Yes. Sorry, Sayyidina Ali. Well, you can't.
If we have two marriages, one Catholic and one Coptic, right? Okay. If you consider the first one is right, that means you are holding marriage for two people already married. How? They already have the sacrament of marriage as the other first church. If you consider the first church is right, that means the second one is right as well. That means you are celebrating marriage for the people who are already married, and the Holy Spirit come upon them and unite them once more. Should be one right and one is not.
Actually, I retract my answer. What Sayyidina said is absolutely correct. Not because he's saying it that only, but because he's absolutely correct.